Is the COVID-19 crisis really a crisis? Should we be doing everything all the medical professionals are telling us to do? How about Black Lives Matter? Are they really helping the African American community? Is it a good idea for a professional sports team to have a separate anthem before they start a game? Or can change happen in America, or is it too late? We're going to tackle these and other questions in this week's TGIF at Work podcast. Let's get started. How do I bring my faith to work? How do I tap into the power of God in my work-life call? Why am I going through this adversity? Is God mad at me? I'm Oz Hillman, and I've been helping leaders like you answer these questions and more for over 30 years. That's what this podcast is all about. Let's learn and grow together. Welcome to TGIF. Today, God is First. Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast. I want to take a little different approach this week and talk to you about what is truth. You know, there have been a lot of things happen in the last few months, and gosh, every day I'm seeing something on the news and I'm saying, well, is that really true? And so often it's not. And I don't think I can remember a time when we have been faced with lies before us every day on the basis that they're trying to make us believe it's truth, and that's just not the way it should be. I think of John 8:32, the truth shall make you free. And that's such a true statement, because when you know the truth about something, you can be free. But if you're being told a lie, the opposite can be taking place. You can be in bondage to something. It can radically change your life. So today, let's take a look at some of the tough issues going today. Let's begin with this first one. COVID-19 is a dangerous pandemic that requires you to avoid interaction with others at all cost. Well, we have gone full circle on this pandemic, and the people who are supposed to be in the know about it have told us one thing, and others have said different things. Well, I came across a doctor that my wife sent me this video from a doctor named Dr. Kelly Victory. And rather than get too much into that, I just want to encourage you to write that down, Dr. Kelly Victory, and watch her video. It's about an hour long, but it will give you what I believe is the truth about this pandemic. I believe that we've gone too far with it. I believe that more people are being harmed, by the consequences of the actions we've taken than the virus itself. And, it's amazing to me what people are doing to avoid this virus, when I simply don't think it's of the nature that would require some of the actions that people are taking. So please check that out and watch it for yourself, Dr. Kelly Victory. America is racist. America is bad. Is that true? No, I don't think so. You see, I said in an article recently that I didn't believe that America would nominate and elect a black president if the nation as a whole was racist. Now, does that mean that there aren't people in America that are racist? Absolutely. I know some. And, we still have work to do. But, things that are worth doing can often be messy. Our nation was birthed in messiness. It's incredible what happened to the founding fathers who birthed this thing. And they had a lot of inherent things that they grew up with, and none of it was good. But we can't throw out America because we've got some spots on us. Every nation has spots on it, but we need to strive to be a great people. Someone said, when America stops being good, it stops being great. And America has given more money to nations around the world than any other nation. We have been a blessed people, and we have used that blessing to bless others. So don't let people try to rewrite history and tell you that America is bad. because I can tell you I've been to 26 countries, and America is great. We have a country that is so far beyond other countries, and it's simply because of the blessing of God on us and a people that responded to God. Here's one for you. Is Black Lives Matter helping the African American community? My answer is no. In fact, they're deterring what could be progress for African American community in this racist issue. The things that they're doing, the things that they're causing to happen in communities that are contributing to the anarchy and violence in the nation, is deterring them from having a good contribution to this conversation. In fact, they are a Marxist organization. If you don't believe that, just go on their website. 3 women started that organization, and they all said they're Marxists, which leads to communism. They're also not for the nuclear family. They don't believe that mother and father is a good model for a family. And we know that part of the reason that there's so much unrest in many of the urban communities, that blacks are killing blacks, is because of the breakdown of the family. And that's true in any race. You break down the family, you're going to have problems with the children that come out of that family. And so we've got a greater problem that needs to be addressed, but Black Lives Matter is not the solution to this issue. So I hope that you will not succumb to political pressure about that when you hear that in conversation, that is something that we need to support. So here's one that comes up occasionally. Should the wealthy be heavily taxed to achieve income equality in America? Should every American receive money from the government? I believe the answer to that is no. And the reason is that if you take away incentive from business people and entrepreneurs, you're simply going to force them to look at alternatives. Some might even leave the country. They might take their businesses out of the country. And, entrepreneurship is one of the great virtues of America. And we need to be able to allow people to be successful. And, should they pay their fair share? Absolutely. But when you start legislating income to people, that's when people lose the desire to work. And of course, we're seeing that right now. When the PPP program, the disaster relief program, came into being, the people in Washington decided they would extend the unemployment benefits so that they would get an extra $600 a month. And what happened, and we predicted this, that people were not going to go back to work because they were making more money from the unemployment they were receiving than what they got at their job. And so we see that people can't get people to work in their businesses right now. We should be concerned about the national debt. Yes, I think we should be. You see, we're at $26 trillion for the national debt and $132 trillion that includes unfunded liabilities. That's $859,000 per taxpayer. Can you afford to pay that? This rooster's going to come home one day and we're going to have to pay that bill. And my fear is that we get to a place of no return. And so, unfortunately, our government leaders on both sides of the aisle have no political willpower to address this issue. And so we need to pray. We need to ask God to put this on their heart and create some type of crisis that would force them to deal with it. It's a good idea for professional sports like the NFL and NBA to have a separate anthem along with the national anthem sung before game time. Now, this is something that I just learned about, that these 2 sports franchises are planning to do. This is a bad idea. Just imagine going to a sports arena and having one anthem played and people stand up for that one, and then have another one played and people sit down for that one. that's going to cause racism and division. It's not going to create unity, even though they might think that that's why they're doing it, or to bring an important awareness to the racism issue. It's only going to cause more racism. And I know that the NFL and NBA are going to pay a dear price for this one, because they're going to make a lot of fans angry with that decision. There are people who want to destroy the family, remove God from our public discourse, and create chaos to gain more control over the population. That is so true. You see, George Soros and many of his liberal cronies have developed a whole strategy to remove God out of the public discourse, to defeat all conservatism, to target conservative organizations and ministries that are trying to bring God back in the culture. They, as of last year, $18 billion had been spent on hundreds of organizations designed to do just that. So we need to have a response to that, and I'm pleased that there is going to be a response to that. There are evil people using a legitimate crisis to promote an ungodly agenda. That's true, especially among the left. And just look at what's happening in New York City, where Mayor de Blasio is literally ruining that city, even putting large black letters, Black Lives Matter, on some of the major thoroughfares in that city, and then defunding the police by over $1 billion. Who are you going to call when somebody comes to your door and puts a gun up to you? You know, recently there was a homeowner that was judged for wanting to protect their property, when protesters and anarchists came through their subdivision, broke down the gate to their subdivision, and carried guns with threatening statements. What would you do if that happened on your front door? So we are in a tough place right now in our nation. Education has been hijacked by liberals. That is very true, and that began all the way back in 1857 with the National Education Association, and that began to grow and grow and grow to the point that professors today are changing the minds of many of our young people and turning them against our nation. They're talking about the nation as not being a good nation. They rewrite history and how they talk about it in the textbooks, and it's really a sad situation that we're seeing today in our educational system. And of course, the education itself is suffering because of all of that, and the test scores are gone down, and we're getting further and further down in our nation around this topic. Our nation is doomed unless, or if the remnant doesn't stand together. Well, that's true. You know, that right now we do have a remnant that's fighting for our nation, and we need to continue to blow the trumpet for the serious condition that we're in. You know, I have a friend that recently did a study on rise and fall of nations. Last week's podcast was on that topic, and if you haven't seen that, I encourage you to watch that. But he found that there were 6 stages that nations went through, and the last stage before there was no return was when nations began to really walk in the LGBT, lesbianism and gay pride, and just all sorts of aberrant behavior. And all of this was documented, that every nation that got into transgenderism at that stage fell and could never return. And so that's a wake-up call for us, because we're right in the middle of that. And so I encourage you to meditate on 2 Chronicles 7:14, that tells us that if we will humble ourselves and pray and seek his face and renounce our sin, that he will hear from heaven on our behalf. So I want to encourage you to find out how we're doing, what we're doing to help shift the nation. We're starting a brand new initiative that I'm serving on the executive committee for, called First Love America, One Nation Under God, the spiritual war on for America. And you can find my talk on that at 7mrevival.com, 7mrevival.com. So I hope you'll check that out. There are 2 videos on there that you'll find of interest. And so, you know, let's come together and let's stand in the gap. Ezekiel says that God looked for a man or a woman who would stand in the gap that he might not destroy the land. So let's stand in the gap for our nation and see if God will bring revival in our nation. So check out last week's message, 7mrevival.com, and we'll see you next time. God bless.
You can help us touch lives by joining our TGIF Inner Circle. Our TGIF Inner Circle partners support the work of TGIF, Today God is First, by committing to giving $10, $20, $30 or more a month to help us underwrite the expenses of delivering TGIF, Today God is First, to 105 nations free of charge. You'll play a vital role in touching lives every day. In appreciation for your partnership, you'll receive a free monthly teaching resource from us and become a member of our private TGIF Inner Circles Partners Facebook community. You'll also receive discounts on new resources that become available. You'll be part of our TGIF Inner Circle to be informed about ministry activities. Join us today and become a TGIF Inner Circle partner. Just visit www.tgifinnercirclepartner.com. That's tgifinnercirclepartner.com.
I started reading TGIF just a couple of months ago, but it has been so powerful in my life that I just wanted to say thank you to Oz.
I've been using the TGIF Daily Devotional since 2003. They've had a huge impact on my life. There's hundreds and hundreds of times that I can tell you where the message has hit me with something, some problem that someone else is going through, and I can forward that email. And there's times when I'm leading groups and that becomes a devotional for the day.
I love the TGIF devotion. For me, it is such a great companion in my quiet time. As I journey through life, it is a great signpost in some areas, a mile marker in other areas. It gives direction, it gives encouragement, it gives strength, and I just want to really encourage you to sign up and enjoy TGIF every morning.
I look forward to those messages. I certainly don't read one a day. I'm into May or June right now. But they're a blessing to me. I've shared them with others, and I know they're blessed. I get phone calls often early in the morning because all my clients know I'm an early morning guy, and they're like, and we'll have a conversation about it in the early morning hours. Thank God for you, Oz, and the work that you're doing.
I have a radio program because of Oz Hillman. 2006, a buddy of mine in Atlanta forwarded me a daily devotional. Said, hey Jim, I know you're struggling on your job, maybe you should read this daily devotional. And I read the devotional, it was TGIF, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to subscribe to that. So I started getting Oz Hillman's daily TGIF devotional, and it started transforming me. It really was a paradigm shift for me. I never had been taught in church that my workplace could be my place of ministry. I was always taught that there was the pastor and then there was the workplace guys, and us workplace guys were just supposed to support the pastors. And today, it's transforming the lives of hundreds of thousands of people across the country. But I'm on the radio today because of that paradigm shift that I recognize that my workplace is my mission field.